What's in my pack? That's what we're going to be talking about this week. I have been wanting to do a video like this for ages, and I'll show you what I pack for a Camino, and it's a good chance for other people to comment, critique what I pack. If you're a first-time pilgrim, it'll give you an idea of what to pack. So here we go. Okay, so what's in my pack? Now, this is not going to be a 5-minute video because there's a lot of stuff here. And I intentionally don't want to race through this. I want to sort of explain each item as we go. So particularly for people who've never walked a Camino, this will give you an idea of the sorts of things that you might need, sorts of things to consider. If there are lots of different alternatives, I'll briefly explain why I picked the ones that I have. And please, if you are an experienced Camino pilgrim, do comment down below because, hey, look, I've walked 3 Caminos, probably about 2,000 kilometers all up. I've done a couple from Saint-Jean to Santiago de Compostela, and I did one from sort of about Osprey on the way in. So this is based on almost 2,000 kilometers of walking and probably about 100 days actual walking on the Camino. But that is not to say that I'm 100% right. This is just what I have found useful, and I thought it might be handy to share, particularly with new pilgrims. Okay, so how's this going to work? I'm going to work through in sections and explain what I've got, why I've got it, and then at the end, and we'll probably speed up that bit, I'll try and get it all into this pack. It fits, don't worry. Okay, so a couple of caveats before we start. This is just my thoughts, and I will highlight alternatives on types of gear. I have got some extras in here, particularly because I have a few injuries, so I'll explain what those are and why I've got them. That would reduce the weight in the pack for anyone who obviously doesn't need those. Depending on the time of year, I can walk with this exact gear. The length of the Camino doesn't matter. If I'm walking for 4 days or 40 days, it's exactly the same. And you'll understand why if you're new to walking Caminos shortly. The only reason I would change what's here is if I was walking in the winter or in a very cold period. I'd need a warmer sleeping bag. I'd probably want warmer shirts and maybe a woolly hat. But that's probably it. So that would add a little bit of weight. I'm guessing maybe another 1.5 kilos, possibly 2 kilos to the pack. I will share this packing list. It's my packing list, but you can, use it for your own purposes and amend it and so on. And I'll say up front, if you're wondering how much all of this weighs, my pack weighs 6.7 kilograms. Which in pounds is 14.8 pounds, so 6.7 kilograms. A very rough rule of thumb is to not allow your pack to go over 10% of your body weight. I am currently, what am I now? 87 kilos. I have to say on my previous Caminos I was up to 91. So I'm on this drastic diet at the moment. But for my next Camino I'm going to be down to 70 kilos. So 7 kilos is my target for my pack. I'd like to go much lower if I can, but I think I've cut it as much as I can. Being overweight is not an excuse to carry more. If you're 100 kilos, no problem, I can carry 10 kilos in my pack. It's probably even more important to carry less. Okay, so I'm going to go through the packing list here. I guess a number one thing to consider is keep your pack as light as possible. People, particularly on their first Camino, overpack. They take things that are not necessary. They take things that they're never going to use, and they end up posting them home, leaving them at an albergue somewhere. I did that. I had way too much stuff on my first Camino. So I've got this down about as light as I can. You could go a lot lighter, and I'll explain that at the end. And another great thing you hear about a great tip is that people pack their fears on Camino. So as I go through this, you might be thinking, Rob's packing his fears. I'm packing things because I might need it or something might go wrong. To a degree, there might be a little bit of that in here. But I think, you know, we pack things that we think we might need because of insecurities and worries and all the rest of it. But, you know, on whichever Camino route you're walking, you can buy stuff, you can get to pharmacies and so on. So don't pack everything, you know, including the kitchen sink. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to use my packing list as a bit of a guide. So here, and I'll show the pack at the end in a bit more detail, I use an Osprey Stratos 34 litre pack. I can get all of this stuff in here, and I'll explain what that is. Don't worry, you're probably sitting there thinking, what is that? I can get all of this stuff into that 34 litre pack, and I've still got room to, you know, put food and stuff like that. So that's easy. I love the Osprey. This one, and I'll show you at the end, has what they call a suspension back, so it keeps the pack off my back, lets a bit of air in there, stops me getting too sweaty. Now, big debate, of course, about footwear. I have worn, not these boots, but same style of boot 3 times on Camino, you know, 800 kilometers or so. I love them. They're Salomon GTX 3 mids, I think. They are so comfortable, so soft. If you have any foot problems, Custom Orthotics, recommend them. So my podiatrist made these. However, I will not be wearing these on my next Camino because I visited a couple of physios during my last Camino. I have foot problems and knee problems. And the guy said, look, this is just too heavy. It's putting extra weight on your knees, you know, you're swinging, they get extra weight. So what I think I'm going to go for is the shoe version of these. So it's basically, you know, cut down, and they'll be, I think, 380 grams each, as opposed to about, can't remember what these are, 580, I think. The other alternative that I'm going to try is trail runners, which is basically like a training shoe, but the sole is a little bit more like this. So I'm going to trial those over the next few months as well. But sadly, these won't be going with me. It'll either be the shoe version or trail runners. So let's put those out of the way. But I do love these. They've only been a little bit of a problem because they're a bit heavy for my knee problems. Next thing, I would never leave home without these. There's always big debates about walking poles. Do you really need them? I find them enormously valuable because I have knee and tendon problems. Used properly, they take a lot of weight off my joints and are fantastic. I got very lightweight ones. In the early days, I bought some fancy ones that had shock absorbers and all of it. No, I've gone for the lightest weight possible. And these weigh 300 grams for the pair. A couple of things to note on these. Please use the rubber tips that go on the end. There was a big debate on an online forum about rubber tips recently. These tungsten tips are great on soft ground. Once you get onto concrete, asphalt, that sort of thing, put the rubber tips on. It'll protect your poles, but also it stops that really annoying clack, 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 clack as people are walking along. The other thing, I have painted a couple of stripes on these just so I know which are mine in the albergue. And you might be wondering what these are. So this is reflective tape, and I've just put a little bit of reflective tape around that. So if I'm walking along a roadside in bad weather or, you know, during dusk, dawn, whatever, car headlights will pick that up and it will help, you know, them see me at the side of the road. Also on here, this is where I keep my duct tape or gaffer tape. I've got that on both of them. I take probably a couple of meters of gaffer tape. I've used it to fix all kinds of things. A lady's phone. I've used it to fix my own clothing. I've used it actually to fix one of these. An older pair actually broke, and I fixed the little mechanism inside with gaffer tape. So that's my poles. Would definitely not walk without poles. So another thing I will never go on Camino without, and I wish I had this on my first Camino, it's a very lightweight umbrella. This is a Euro Sherm. It weighs, what does it weigh? Lightweight umbrella, 234 grams. Very, very lightweight, reflective. You might be thinking, don't you wear wet weather gear? I'll tell you why I carry this. It's for the sun. I have used it in very wet weather, and it's fantastic to just keep, you know, the downpour off you. The main benefit is walking during really hot weather and really strong sun. So what I find is I'm kind of walking in my own little bit of shade. It is so much more comfortable. On my first Camino, I really got hot. I got sunburnt, and I found the heat sometimes a bit of a struggle. Once it was, getting up to about 35 degrees. With this, not only is it like walking along under a tree, but also I find it reduces my water requirements. So I generally go through, a litre of water generally gets me 10 Ks. I find I'm using about 20% less water with this. I'm not being stupid and carrying less water, but it makes my water last longer by having this, but it's just a comfort factor too. So we'll put that down there. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll work along here, and this is wet weather gear. I have a very lightweight pair of gloves. So like walking from Saint-Jean over the Pyrenees, a couple of times that I've done that, it's been down 0 or below 0. It can get very cold in the mornings, depending what time of year you're walking. This is just enough to keep the sort of wind off my hands. But again, I wear these walking when it's really sunny. I wear these most of the time, actually. So maybe it's because I'm Australian and we're very aware of skin cancers and sunburn and things like that, but I actually walk in long sleeves. I'll very often turn my collar up. I have a hat. Where's my hat? Oh, I'll have to go and get the hat in a second. Oh, I can see it down there, I think. I have a hat with a flap down the back, a wide-brimmed hat, and I wear gloves because on my first Camino I got really bad sunburn on my hands. So because I'm using my poles, my hands are exposed. So just very lightweight gloves. They're great. Okay, wet weather gear. This is where you can have some alternatives. Look, it's going to rain, so you need something. A lot of people just wear some sort of rain protection up top, and they say, look, the bottom will dry out, it's only rain. I've walked in downpours for days on end, and generally the options are you wear a rain jacket. So this is a very lightweight Gore-Tex jacket, and rain pants. These are very lightweight pants. They have a zip all the way up the side, so they're very easy to put on and off. That weighs about 200 grams. This, I think, is about 250. Absolutely, totally waterproof. Wonderful. The other option, Gore-Tex stuff is not cheap. The other option is a poncho. Lots and lots of people wear ponchos. They can be quite inexpensive. An Altus poncho is a very popular brand. But if you want sort of ultralight stuff, look for that online as well. So some sort of rain gear is really good. I then have a fleece. This is a bit of an old one, so it's probably a little bit heavier than you can get now. This is 460 grams. I'm thinking about buying a lighter one for my next Camino. What do I wear this for? In the mornings, if it's really cold, I'll wear that. So I'm wearing my shirt, the fleece and a rain jacket. Layers is the trick to keeping warm, and I'm really warm. Even in 0 degrees, I'd probably end up taking this off soon. So it's very, very warm. And I should point out, even if I was walking a winter Camino, in fact I think I did mention it, the only thing I'd probably change is just thicker shirts. So what kind of a shirt am I wearing? Very thin merino. I use, they call them featherweight. I use icebreaker merino shirts. These are 120 or 180, 130 gram shirts. So on the top, I've got that, and the rain jacket. Never ever been cold. Normally I'm walking just in that. If it's raining or if there's a cold wind, I'll put the rain jacket on. It's got to be really cold for me to put this on. The fleece, I still carry it because it's nice to wear in the evenings. So if I'm out for dinner, walking around the town and it's cool in the evening, I don't really want to have to wear my rain jacket. I wear that just on top of my shirt. I thought about doing away with it to save weight. Yeah, am I packing my fears? No, on a cold day that just wouldn't be warm enough. So what I'm going to do is get a lighter fleece, which is just like a vest, and it's about half the weight of that. Okay, so that's my sort of wet weather gear, which I keep in the bottom of the pack, which is very easy to get to. So if it starts raining, I can just whip that out and away we go. Okay, what's next? Sleeping stuff. Okay, on my previous Caminos, I haven't done the communal sleeping albergue thing. Sorry, I'm a coward. I've always done private rooms, and so I've never had to carry a sleeping bag and other things associated with albergues. So I want to go really ultralight. The options, depending on the time of year, a lot of people will just carry a silk, what do you call it? A silk liner, which goes inside your sleeping bag. It's used to make your sleeping bag a little bit warmer or to keep your sleeping bag clean, but you could actually use it as an ultra-light sleeping bag just on its own. So that weighs about 140 grams, and I treat that with permethrin, which helps avoid bed bugs. And then, because I'm a little bit paranoid about weight, I went for an ultralight sleeping bag. I'm going to regret taking this out because it's a nightmare to get back in. But here is my sleeping bag, and what does it weigh? It weighs about 400 grams. So there we go. And that'll be fine from, spring, summer, autumn, plenty warm enough, particularly with the liner. If I was walking in winter, I'd obviously have a heavier one. I'll put that back in its stuff sack in a moment. So that's sleeping. I've got the sleeping bag with the liner. That gives me options, because if it's cold, the liner in the sleeping bag would be plenty warm. Look, if it's suddenly plummeted below zero, I've got clothes to put on. That's what you do. And if it was really warm, I'd just use the liner. So that's my sleeping system. What else have we got now? Spare clothes. So let's go through spare clothes. This is where first-time pilgrims end up carrying way too much, because they carry lots and lots of spare clothes. You really only need one set of spare clothes. You're going to have what you're wearing, and I'm not wearing my walking gear because the microphones get very scratchy on these shirts. So I'm wearing one of these merino shirts. I'm wearing one of these lightweight hiking pants, and I'll have another spare set of each. Get into the albergue, go for a shower, take off the dirty stuff, wash that, put on exactly the same stuff that you're going to be wearing tomorrow. So your clean clothes in the evening are the clothes that you're going to walk in tomorrow. So basically I have 2 shirts, I have 2 sets of hiking pants. You could argue maybe I only need 1 set. See, I mean, there's always ways to reduce weight. A lot of people love the zip-off pants. I don't, for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm short and chubby, the zips always cut across my knees, and I find that really irritating. The other thing is I do not want to wear shorts on Camino because my shins are going to get sunburnt. So I burn very easily. So there are spare clothes. I've got the shirt, the pants, 1 set of underwear, and 2 spare sets of socks. Why 2? So obviously I'm wearing one set, and I've got 2 spare sets. I use thin liner socks. These are polypropylene, I think one of them is, and one is merino. I kind of carry different ones because they feel slightly different on your feet. And if one day you're getting a little bit of rubbing or something, it's nice to have a different type of sock to put on. So 2 spare sets of inners, 2 spare sets of outers. And you can see again they're slightly different brands, just to give my feet a break. Why do I carry 3? Because when I'm walking during the day, I'll have easy access to another pair. And if my feet are getting hot spots, if my feet are getting sort of damp and sweaty, that can lead to blisters, and I'll change my socks through the day. So that's why I have an extra pair. So let's put those up. No, don't want to lose track of where I'm at. Okay, so that's the spare clothes. Swimwear. Why am I taking swimming trunks? Because my next Camino is going to be the Via de la Plata, and I will confess, whilst I am mainly staying in albergues, I'm going to stay in a couple of nice hotels too, and I noticed they have a swimming pool. But also, there are a couple of towns that I'm passing through where they have old Roman spas, Roman baths, and I don't think they were going to really want me in there in my boxer shorts, so I'm going to throw those in. I wish I could get a lighter pair. 50 grams. You get weight paranoid. Okay, so that's spare clothes. Let me come up to here. There was one more spare clothing item. I've got a very thin merino t-shirt. Why? Because I'm staying in albergues next time. I can't really sort of just run around in my underwear, and I need something to sleep in, so that's basically going to be my pyjama top. My walking shirts would be a bit uncomfortable sleeping because they've got zips and they're long sleeve and all the rest of it. So I could do without that, I guess, you know. What else have we got along here? We have got sandals. Now, again, this is, let's call it a discretionary item. So I'm walking in boots, and I can tell you if I've walked 25, 30 kilometres in these, I do not want to be wearing them in the evening, going around to dinner. I think part of the solution to taking care of your feet, you know, avoiding blisters and all the rest of it is you've got to air your feet quite a bit. So I don't want to wear that in the evening. They could be wet from the daytime as well. I want something to change into and something that's going to allow my feet to air. And so I wear these sandals. Now, these are fairly chunky because they're hiking sandals. So they have a dual purpose. And that's really important, actually. When you're going through what you're going to be packing, try to pack stuff that has more than one purpose. So these become my evening walking around town footwear, allowing my feet to breathe. Generally, I wear them with socks, I have to say. It's very un-Australian, I know, wearing socks with sandals. Yeah, I mean, they're very comfortable, allow my feet to breathe. The other purpose, of course, is that if for some reason I was having foot problems and the boots were just becoming, you know, a bit hard to wear, I can hike in these. They're hiking sandals. So they have a dual purpose. I've looked at really ultra-light ones, trying to save weight. I could save a couple of 100 grams, but they would be okay maybe for just walking around town, but they wouldn't be any good for hiking. So I'll go with the extra weight for those. Then we come to a few extra items. I'll put you out of your misery. What's this? All right. I have acute chronic Achilles tendonitis. I'm also very prone to shin splints. I have a bulging disc in my back. I've got all sorts of weird ailments. And my physio, before my last Camino, showed me how to use one of these. This is great, a Physio roller. I can put this on the floor, roll my shins across it. I can, you know, put it under my feet. I can roll my back on it, my hips. Really excellent. It was actually about that long, and I carried that on my last Camino. I'm just trying to reduce weight, so I managed to get this down below 200 grams by chopping it that size. When I go and see Pete, my physio, next, I'm going to ask him if he's got a lighter weight one, maybe a slightly smaller diameter. But hey, look, it's 180 grams or something. Pat and I both used this on our last Camino as we were starting to feel shin splints. It never progressed because we were able to use this every day. It was really good. The other, I guess I'll call it special item, and the reason I'm going to carry these you can buy in the pharmacies in Spain all over the place. These are basically knee braces because I have problems with my knees. I've got water in the knees. I've got arthritis in the knees. I've got a split meniscus in one knee. It's kind of little knee braces, and I know after a few days I'm going to need something like this, so I might as well just take it at the beginning. Those go up over the knee, the little straps go around them, and they're great. Every Camino I've needed to use these, so I might as well set out with them. I'm just a bit upset that they weigh 160 grams, that's all. I'm going to talk to my physio and see if there's a lighter weight version. Another special item, kind of just for me, is these little compression ankle thingies. That can help if my Achilles tendonitis gets really bad. I end up using them every Camino, so I might as well take them. And then heel wedges, because of my Achilles tendonitis, if the tendons get really sore because they're being stretched, I slip these in under my orthotics and it raises the heel a little bit and it just takes that bit of pressure off the Achilles. Again, I use these every Camino, that's why I'm packing them. People laugh at me, and even my podiatrist laughed at me because he said, why do you actually take these extra ones? I said, it's pretty simple. What's his name? Phil. Pretty simple, Phil. If I'm going up a really steep hill, like you know, day one on the Camino Frances out of Saint-Jean, or going up to Otebrero, really steep, and it's stretching my Achilles tendon, and really, you know, I know it's going to be bloody painful that evening. I just stop and whack these in under my orthotic, and it's just takes the pressure off. It's stopping my tendon stretching by that much. So literally I stop, I put them in, I It's this one, yeah, this has got tape on it. I just double back the gaffer tape, double-sided gaffer tape, just fold it over. I stick that on the boot. The orthotic goes over the top. I take them out at the top. It worked great. I mean, there's no weight in it. Okay, so that's that stuff. Let's just move along here. That's a little dry bag to put the spare clothes in. Help keep your clothes dry, of course, but also when you're going into the showers and the albergos and so on, you can hang that up. And a great tip from somebody online, I bought myself a hero hook, which you can hook on the shower door or anywhere like that, and you can hang up your dry bag. So this is the small hero hook, which weighs about 33 grams. So I'm going to try that. So there we go. Moving along now, we're into sort of toiletries. I carry a little packet of wet wipes, just, you know, if I'm caught out somewhere. This is an interesting item. This is a trowel, and it weighs about 17 grams. It's called the Tent. It comes from the Tent Lab, and it's called the Deuce of Spades. And I might use this once or twice on a 30 or 40 day Camino. If you're caught out, you need a bathroom, seriously, you're not just having a pee, there is nothing worse than leaving, you know, human waste everywhere behind bushes and things. So you can dig yourself a little cat hole with this. I've had to use it a couple of times. Do whatever and bury it, you know, for the sake of 17 grams. I'd rather keep the place neat and tidy. As a general principle, of course, try to carry all your rubbish out. So that's that bit. I'm going to try these out actually, because I'm staying in albergos this time, and the only other footwear I've got are my hiking sandals. These are, I found these online. These are, oh, what do you call them? Someone tell me down below. Well, you're going to get your toenails painted. Anyway, these sort of beauty parlours use these on your feet to shuffle around in. They weigh about 2 grams each. They're actually quite strong. And I thought I can shuffle off to the shower in those, and they weigh nothing. Carry a little bit of toilet paper. Please don't take it out of the albergos and the cafes, because they spend a fortune. I've got a watch here. I wouldn't take expensive anything with you, you know, watches, jewellery, anything like that. This is a fairly cheap, reliable watch that I got, and it's been on all 3 Caminos with me so far. Take stuff that you're not worried, you know, if you're going to lose. A very lightweight towel. This one's about 1 metre by 50 centimetres, weighs about 80 grams, I think. So I'm a bit of a nut, I know the weight of everything. I wouldn't want to go much smaller than that. Toothbrush, toothpaste. I'll need a bit more toothpaste than that one. Soaps. I carry a tiny little bar soap for cleaning myself. And for doing laundry, I use these little laundry flakes from, who's it from? Trek and Travel. So literally one of those flakes, and there's 50 in here, is enough to wash your clothes, weighs nothing. You can actually get body soap on that as well, but I kind of like my soap. Then I'm coming through, I guess we'll call this sort of personal hygiene and health stuff. I carry a little bit of Vaseline, part of my regime for avoiding blisters. 2,000 kilometres, not one single blister so far. I start off with Vaseline on my feet. If I'm getting a hot spot, I put on hiker's wool. Bit of a plug for hiker's wool, no commercial interest. So the Vaseline goes on the feet every morning without fail. Bit of hiker's wool if necessary, the liner sock, the outer sock. Never had a blister, so I'm not leaving that at home. You can buy it locally, but I mean, that's going to last me probably a week. As that's running out, I'll try and pick up a tube or something. I then carry a few medicines. I don't have them all here, but I've got some representative ones, I think. There's some prescription medicine that I have to take. It's very lightweight. I mean, I've literally weighed them. They weigh 10 grams, I think, for 2 months worth. So I just take those. It's probably too difficult to try and get these particular medicines. And then I carry a few generic things. So this is a very strong painkiller. Because of my Achilles problems and all that kind of stuff, I discussed all of this with my GP, my doctor, and she said, look, if you have a knee problem or an Achilles problem, and you kind of need to walk another 10, 15 Ks to go for help, just pop a couple of these, and that'll just take the edge off until you can sort of get to a doctor or something. So I carry those just as a backup. I carry Nurofen, what's the generic name for these? Ibuprofen, also known as Pilgrim Smarties. And I carry paracetamol as well, just probably a week's worth. Again, because of my knee and Achilles problems, I take these every day under the doctor's advice. So I carry a few and then I top up as I go. I use these tiny little sort of hiking bottles to put things in. And what have I got here? I've got a little thing of sunscreen. I burn very easily, so if it's a hot day, I'll just put a little bit on my face, maybe on my hands. So I'll take that. I take a tiny thing of lavender oil, again, just a little bit in a very light bottle. What do I use that for? I'm very prone to insect bites. Mosquitoes seem to know I'm in the area and they just zoom in on me. Literally at home here, if I go out at dusk, I'll come in with 10 mosquito bites within 5 minutes. And this is really good for insect bites. Just dab a bit on and it takes the irritation away. It's also really good for sunburn. So that time when I had very badly sunburnt hands, I put lavender oil on. It really fixes it very quickly. So I take a little bit of that. I take a tiny bit of, this is a product called betadine. It's an antiseptic for cuts and bruises. I take probably 2 tablets for cleaning dentures. Not for cleaning my teeth, they're for cleaning the water tubes on my pack, just so I can give them a bit of a clean out every couple of weeks. What else have we got here? I literally carry 2 Imodium tablets. If you don't know Imodium, it's probably not the best thing to use when you have diarrhea. I know medical professionals generally say if you have diarrhea, kind of just let everything work through. But if you're in the middle of walking to your destination, you've got 20 k's to go, it's happened to me a couple of times. If something's disagreed with me and I pop that in and it kind of just blocks everything up. I don't like to take them, but it's just a backup. I've got a few Band-Aids. I have a couple of alcohol wipes, if I'm having to treat something, cuts, whatever. I have a tiny bit of insect repellent. This is an Australian one called Aerogard, again, because I'm so susceptible to insect bites. I come up in lumps and all that sort of stuff. I've never found a big problem on the Camino, but for the sake of 10 grams, I'll carry a little bit. And if I'm in an area where there's a lot of mosquitoes, I'll just put a bit on my skin. I generally carry a couple of rolls of this, I guess you'd call it Physio tape. This is Luca tape. So I generally bandage my Achilles in the mornings. So my physio shows me how to do that. So I go through a lot of this stuff. So I carry a couple of rolls with me, and then as it's running down and I pass the pharmacy, I'll get a bit more. Okay, not too far to go. What else we got here? This is a little bag of tricks here. I've got some earplugs for sleeping in albergos, and I carry a couple of needles and a bit of thread, so for fixing clothes. Quite a few times I've had a seam go on clothes or something like that. I also carry a couple of spare pole tips. And there was a big debate online about pole tips. These ones have actually got the little metal washers in the bottom to make them last longer. I've got 2 spare laces, which double up as a washing line. And then I carry some diaper pins, nappy pins, for hanging up my clothes when I wash them onto the washing line. That's pretty much it. And a marker pen. That's a little thing there with a couple of spare buttons in it. So there we go, that's my kind of little mending kit and spares kit. I'll just throw all those back in there. It doesn't weigh much. Where have we got to? Then I've got my, we'll do the electronics last. Then I have this little thing. What is this? It is, I think it's about a 20-litre backpack. And it weighs about 50 grams. Why do I carry this, you might ask? Let me see if I can work out how to open it. Okay, this is great because let's say I get to the albergo in the evening and people are going, hey, let's go out shopping, we're going to buy some food, let's cook a meal together. It doubles up as a shopping bag. So I don't have to take my pack, I don't have to worry about shopping bags or whatever. It's an ultra sil bag, that's the fabric. I think it's 15, 20 litres or something. So I can put all the shopping in that. The other really useful way that I've used this, and I've used it a couple of times, is if I get sort of bad problems with my feet or knees or something like that and I need a day's rest, you know, or I need a day where I'm not carrying too much weight to recover, I can actually just put my waterproof, my wet weather gear in there with my lunch, and if necessary I could pack everything up else into my pack and have that sent to the next town or something. So I've had to do that a couple of times. So that's another reason why I carry that for shopping and if I had to send stuff forward. I carry a little protective case for my phone. So I take a lot of stills and videos while I'm walking. I only shoot on my phone. I don't want to carry a camera. This gives it, you know, a bit of protection for dropping and all the rest of it. It's great. I don't need to even take it out of the case, and that just clips onto my pack or whatever it is. What else we got? My wallet. I save weight every way I can. So I wear this wallet around my neck, and in there I've got my passport and my pilgrim passport. So I'll just show you those. So I've got my Aussie passport and my credential, my pilgrim passport, and I might have a little map. Sorry, Mr. Brearley, but I don't want to carry the whole book. I just take the map out of the front, and I make little notes on there about where I'm staying and stuff. So all of that goes into a plastic bag. Very important lesson I learnt in my first Camino. Put it in a plastic bag before you put it into your chest wallet. Why? Because walking in the heat, that got soaking and my passport got soaking with sweat. So I keep it in a little bag. I would keep my ATM cards and stuff in there. I've got some money in there. But this is my easy access wallet. So in there I'll have a few notes, a few coins, and that I'll keep in the pocket of my pack waist strap. So I can just pull that out if I'm buying a coffee or something like that. Okay, so that's that. And then the final one we've got to is my little electronics bag, what's in here. So because I take a lot of video, I use a tiny little stand to put my phone on. It's the lightest one I could find. I use a little microphone, a bit like these ones, that I can plug into the phone. Gives me good sound when I'm shooting videos. I've got the charging plug for my phone. I bought the European one. Why? Because then I don't have to carry a European adapter. Saves me 20 grams or something. I would carry a power bank. This one's too heavy. We carried this one last time. I want to get one that's only about 100 grams. I carry a tiny little Swiss Army knife. Very important item, corkscrew. But you know, if I'm sort of buying fruit or anything like that, it's got a couple of blades on it, which is really handy. This one has got scissors on it, so if I trim my toenails or something, I think it's probably worth the weight of carrying that. And I've also got a little magic tin opener. This is an old army tin opener. They weigh about 5 grams. And this is my headlight. So if I need to be walking at night, early morning at night, you know, I think it's well worth having a headlight. I've only used it a couple of times, but it's kind of a safety feature, I think. You don't really want to be using this in the albergue at night, going around and blinding people. But you know, if you're caught out walking late or you're setting out early in the morning, some sort of headlight is good. This one weighs about 65 grams. I'm looking for a lighter one. That's quite old. Okay, so I think that's about it. What we'll do now is put everything into this pack. Let me just point out a couple of things though on the pack. I have to do this sitting down. If I stand up, I'll be out of shot. But we'll adjust the camera for when I pack all this up. So a couple of things to note on here. These little clips are amazing. I put water bottles into these. So just any old sort of water bottle that you can buy, you put the water bottles in there, that clamps down on them, and I have these little elastic straps to hold the bottles in place, and I generally have 2 600ml bottles, one on each side. Then I have this tube, which just screws down into the water bottle, and on the other side, where's it gone? There it is. I've got my drinking tube. So the other option, of course, is to have a bladder, and most packs have a space inside to put a water bladder. I did that on my first Camino. Again, it's one of these things that a lot of people will argue different ways. There's the spot in there where you put your water bladder. Some people love water bladders. I liked it, but I found I was carrying too much water with it. I couldn't see how much water I had left, which was a big issue, and I ran dry twice because it's tucked in there. And there's the weight of the bladder itself. They weigh, I don't know, 250 grams, something like that. With the water bottles on the front, I just find it so much easier. I can see exactly what I've got, and I'm sipping as I'm walking. I can see the levels dropping. Like I said, I go through about 1 litre in 10 Ks, so I can monitor my water intake. I can literally take the full bottle and swap it over onto that side without even stopping. It's dead easy. I've left this tube quite long because if I was walking a very long section, say on the Via de la Plata, and I needed to carry a lot more water, I could put a big bottle in the side pack perhaps, and this will be long enough to stretch into that, or indeed I could put a big bottle in the back. So again, it's about flexibility. But that's the best water system I've found. 2 of these little clips, I'll try and remember what they're called and put a link down below. I have a couple of little very lightweight carabiners because sometimes, if I'm out shopping and buying bread and stuff, I might want to put shopping in this, and I can just hang it on the front here if I run out of space in the back. Very often flying to the Camino, because I'm coming from Australia, the stuff that I want in the plane I'll carry in this, and when I'm getting on the plane I have it just hanging on the front. This goes up in the overhead locker, that stays with me. So again, lots of flexibility in how you do things. In the waistbands, I'm generally carrying my little tripod and power bank and things like that there. My money if I'm stopping for a snack or something like that. In the other side, I might carry a little bag of nuts, things like that, maybe the shopping bag. So anything that you need to get to as you're walking. In the back section, this is where I will put my wet weather jacket and pants, so I can easily get to them. They go into that section. And then in this section, one thing we haven't mentioned, most Osprey packs come with a waterproof cover in the bottom. So you want some sort of waterproof cover to put over your pack. These ones are kind of built in. So there we go. I think that's everything. Now what we'll do is see if we can get it all in the pack. And it does fit a 34 litre pack. So I'm just going to pause the camera for a second. I'll raise the angle a bit so I can stand up and do the packing, and we'll put it in. Maybe sort of speed up the video a bit. Okay, what are we going to pack first? Let's start with the spare clothes. We'll get those in. The thing I actually like about this pack is that it totally opens. I know a lot of people don't like these. I'm not sure whether you call them a front opening pack or something. Some you can only stuff from there. I actually like, when I've got to my destination, that I can actually open up the whole thing. There we go. What's in my pack? And as I mentioned right at the beginning, 4 days, 40 days, 60 days, doesn't matter. There's nothing else that I need. It's all in there. What I'm wearing, spare change of clothes, there's a few personal hygiene things, a few meds, my sleeping stuff. Oh, that's it. And that is about as heavy as you need to go. So I hope that was helpful. Please do comment down below. Let me know, is there stuff there that you think I shouldn't be taking? Is there stuff that you think maybe there are better alternatives? We love to talk about packing lists. We pilgrims in between Caminos. So, Anyway, hopefully that's given you a few ideas of what to take, some of the options that you have in footwear and wet weather gear and so on. The main message I wanted to share here, though, is don't take too much stuff. You will regret it. The lighter you can make the pack, the happier you're going to be. A lot of people say, lay everything out, you know, go through it and say, look, do I really need that? You know, am I actually going to use it? Or if I you know, come across a circumstance where I'm going to need it, can I buy it there? Or is there something else that I could use for that purpose? You know, there's all sorts of ways of thinking, oh, well, I might only use that thing once or twice. Is there another thing that I could use in its place? So, you know, I'm not taking a knife and fork to eat my lunch with. You know, not that you really need one. I've got a little penknife. I can do everything with that. So that's what I pack. I'm still refining it, still trying to get the weight a little bit lower if I can. You know, don't laugh at my Physio roller, but we won't talk about the rice cooker. That's for another time. There we go. That's what's in my pack. That's what I'm going to be carrying next time for 1,000 Ks on the Via de la Plata. Thanks for watching and look forward to seeing your comments down below.